Welcome to the Rangers Wire podcast. I am Gary, and it is the 29th of July 2026, 2 days before the season kicks off, and I'm joined by Dex. Again, Dex, how are you doing, mate?
Good afternoon.
So, Dex, just into the podcast then, breaking news from the press conference, which is just finished. Shankland announces the Rangers captain. What's your thoughts on that? Was it a surprise to you?
Nah, not at all. It's happy days for me. I couldn't really see it being anybody else. I know you touched on Dan Neil perhaps earlier on, but I think it was always going to be Shankland. Rangers man, McInnes trusts him. He knows the league. It was a no-brainer, personally.
I think the fact that Derek McInnes' captain last season at Hearts, Rangers man, like you said, and he has got good leadership skills, so it's no surprise. I think it's a popular decision. I think most of the fan base will be on side with that. So we'll move on. We'll do a preview of the league finally starting after the World Cup. Rangers versus Dundee United Friday night. Buzzing for that one.
Yeah, can't wait. Absolutely buzzing for it.
So before we just do a very brief analysis of Dundee United, given that obviously the season's just starting, we'll just touch on the Rangers lineup then. What is your Rangers lineup going into that? Is there any shocks that you're going to, any inclusions that maybe would be surprising to most people?
Well, it depends. Do we get a winger in between then? Because the problem is I'm thinking about, so I think it pretty much almost puts itself out. You've got Pandur in the nets, you've got Romans, and saying that, the right back could be disputed. For me, if Sterling's fit, Sterling starts that game 100%. Centre back pairing, you go Godfrey, Fernandez.
Yep.
Centre mid pairing could be debated. For me, I'd probably go Devlin and Neil. You've got a bit of battle, and hopefully, like we've seen at the end of the last friendly, Devlin putting out the fires allows Neil to go forward. And then the wings is the major problem area for me. I'd probably go, if Asgard's available, which we're hoping he is, McInnes says it should be, Asgard on the left is the kind of inverted wide midfielder. And then I'd go probably Gassama on the right. But either whoever I name in the right wing position is just no good enough for me personally. I really want to see get somebody in for that. And up front it needs to be Shankland and Chamiti. Would you pretty much agree with that, or is there anything you'd change about that yourself?
I would agree with it. The only thing I would change, I would probably go with Curtis on the right. I've just seen enough of Gassama. And I think if we could, I would like to move him on, to be honest. I've just not seen it for him. He's too cold for me, so I would go Finlay Curtis coming in off the right.
Yeah.
But like you say, we do need wingers. But I don't think there's any real surprises there with that lineup, and I think most people will go with that lineup. And it'll be good to see, hopefully, Dragojevic on the bench, hopefully.
I'd like that.
So just wanted to discuss Dundee United. Now, clearly, this season's just starting, but they have been involved in the Premier Sports Cup, the group stages. So they essentially have a longer pre-season, but it's competitive games though, so they will be sharp. So they topped their group. However, they did lose in the opening game, 1-0 to Montrose. Could have been maybe pre-season blues type thing. Then went on to beat Arbroath 3-0 at home. They beat Spartans 4-0 at home after that. And a couple of key players for them, it'll be no surprise from last season, was Zach Sarsford.
Yeah.
He's been a standout with his goals and his overall form against the lower league opposition. And another key player that they've managed to keep a hold of, which I'm quite surprised at, I heard there was links with Celtic as Will Ferry, but I don't think they're going to come and attack Rangers. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, and we'll discuss that in a second, that they're going to come, set up, take in a disturbance and make it slow the pace down, etc. But I mean, we'll get on to prediction in a while. What I'm getting to is they're going to be well organised as you get from any Dundee United side, but it's more especially because this is our first game of the season and they're going to try and catch us cold. They're going to turn it into a battle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, totally. I do think it's going to be a battle, but not sure if they're going to come and just sit back, because I think that's what's expected of them. So I think with that in mind, they might try and surprise us. They might maybe come out and attack for the gates, maybe the first 20, get an early goal and then sit back. I don't know, but I see that happening. I can see them try to surprise.
Yeah,
start the game in the front foot.
I mean, they have scored 7 goals in the last 2 games, but that's against Arbroath and Spartans, so it's hard to really take it away from that. But what you can take is they do have guys that can put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But I personally think they'll try and make it a tight game. And I mean, we'll find it Friday. I'm really looking forward to getting the league started. I think there's a lot of positivity in this one. And I just want to touch on the press conference here. So Rangers obviously done a press conference that's recently finished, and there's a couple of key quotes. This is one I'm going to read. He said that he obviously was extremely proud to be the captain, which you would imagine he would be. But also one of the key takeaways, he said that they're looking ahead to Friday. He can't wait to walk out as captain. The squad looks sharp, and we are all up for the game on Friday. It's refreshing to hear that going into the first game of the season, is it not?
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear, and I just hope the players reciprocate that in the pitch and reward us with a win.
And you look back to last season, the terrible start. I mean, the worst start in our history. And we still were, at one point in that season, we were favourites to win the league. So if you got off to a good start, you certainly set yourself for success. And I think it's a good opportunity for this new look side to do that on Friday night.
Yeah, 100%. They need to go out there and grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I'd love to see Shankland get a debut goal for his captainship. That would be the cherry in the cake, but we'll see what happens. At this point, I'd settle for the 3 points, Gary.
No, absolutely. And you're saying about Shankland scoring. Okay, we'll get into predictions to be setting. So let's do it now. What is your prediction then? What's the score and how?
I'm not thinking as many goals. I've seen people say like 4-5-0. I'd be very surprised if that's the case. But I do think it'll be a Rangers win, and I do think it might be convincing. I'm going to go 2-0, but an easy 2-0 cruise control. Goal first half, goal second half, see the game out. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be negative. Right? I would love a 5-0 win. I'd love goals. I just don't see it. Based off the pre-season friendlies with a lack of creativity, I just don't see us all of a sudden sparking into life. Even though it's friendly and a competitive environment, I can see it being a hard-fought match, and I can see Rangers coming out on top, winning by a single goal scored by Lawrence Shankland. I'll go 1-0 Rangers, Lawrence Shankland, and I think it'll be a big game for Cammy Devlin in the middle of the park. That's the type of match I'm going for.
Yeah, that is. It's absolutely a Cammy Devlin type of match.
Yeah, and let's just we can't do a big preview of that clearly because the season's not started, but we're going into it good. We've not, with a good pre-season, maybe not scored as many, maybe not won as many, but there's certainly a lot of positives to take, especially the West Ham game. I thought a lot better. But transfers, clearly we spoke about transfers and the need for a winger, which brings me on nicely to speak about any kind of incomings that surfaced recently. So I'm not going to pronounce the boy's first name, but McInnes, so the big centre-back from Philadelphia Union, South African, deal was very close, and I believe it's $4.5 million, which is, I think, just under £3.5 million. 22-year-old, so he's described as he's strong in the air, versatile, can play left centre-back, right centre-back. Would you be happy with him coming in?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. I think in this market, just over 3 million for an international defender that seems to have a good fitness profile. He's big, he's good with the ball at his feet, and you need to assume he's coming as a backup unless there's any more outgoings. So I'm fine with it. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Yeah, and we'll speak outgoings in a wee second. But if he's a direct swap for John Souttar, for example, is that an upgrade?
I'd say so. We've spoke about Sutter before, and I even said I wouldn't mind either seeing him under a McInnes team, but you need to just go off what you've seen last season, and it wasn't good enough as a Rangers player.
I would echo that. I think Souttar is a kind of siege defender, back to the keeper. He done everything that comes in, and I think last season at Rangers, because we're on the ball a lot, you never really seen his strengths, and I think it just let him down. And he was showing up a wee bit last season. He was getting caught out too many times. So it's, even though I don't know a lot about McInnes, for what I've read, for what I've watched in the recent days, he does seem like a very good player. And one thing that he's got that's really exciting and impressive is his dribbling abilities. A lot of the videos you're seeing, and it's hard though to look at these videos come from the MLS because we all know the standard maybe isn't great. But he does seem to like to dribble forward with the ball, and that's maybe something that he could bring to Rangers.
Yeah, that's what I noticed watching him. His composure in the ball. It was a bit similar to Fernandes in the way he can just move forward with it nonchalantly. But yeah, it's not a bad trait to have as a defender.
I just hope that that's not a replacement for Fernandes, and Fernandes is still on the side, at the other side of this transfer window.
I'd like to think Fernandes is staying, especially his words in his previous conference. He said he's the best yet to come. So, yeah, I can't see it being a replacement. I certainly hope not anyway. I love big Fernandes.
And onto the prone position of Rangers for many years
Hmm.
is onto the wing. So we're looking at taking Coventry City winger Jonah Markello. So I don't know if you know a lot about him, Dex, but so he came through the Ajax Academy, very famous academy. He had spells at Zurich. However, going to Coventry in January, he actually only had 5 appearances. However, when you look at Coventry's season and another Premier League side, maybe not a surprise. It's hard to break into a team that's doing so well. Would that type of signing excite you?
It's one of the ones, I need to be honest. I've not seen him play a lot. All I've done is seen a couple of highlight videos and read his numbers. His numbers aren't great reading. Then again, if you read Ryan Kent's numbers, people would have said the same. I'm not going to compare him to Ryan Kent, 'cause I think Ryan Kent was a great player, especially in his prime. But if he's that kind of player, well, he's not going to get numbers. But like, for example, the pre-assist, people talk about the pre-assist, doesn't get read anywhere. But Ryan Kent started so many attacks and was involved in so many goals in that kind of way. If he's a player similar to that, even if he can get us up the pitch where he's driving with the ball, that's exactly what we need. And I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he is described as a pacey winger who loves to take on his opposite fullback, and that's something that we have badly lacked in recent years. And especially watching the pre-season matches, unfortunately, Ant-Man's a likeable character, but for some reason, apart from his debut, he's very negative and he very rarely takes his man on. And see if he does get a ball in the box, his delivery was actually okay, but he just doesn't do it often enough. So I think reading this guy's profile, I'm excited at the profile anyway. Whether it works out to that profile is another matter, but that's certainly the profile that I would like Rangers to go after for a winger.
Yeah, completely. I wouldn't mind us getting another winger or two in, mind you, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, looking at the transfers, obviously it looks like we're going to sign the centre back and the winger here. However, I do feel we need other positions to part, and I'll just briefly discuss that. I feel we need a left back, and I wouldn't mind. There's a lot of links with Penrice.
Hmm.
I wouldn't like to see that to challenge Romans, maybe to give Romans a break as well. Can't play every game, every minute of every game, and we don't know his physical status. I mean, like last season he came and he was injured when he came, then he got injured. He looks like he's flying now, but you can't solo rely on one player for one position. Everybody knows that. So I'd like to see a left back coming in, and I would also like to see a further centre back. I just don't feel that Clinton Ciala is going to cut it. So I think another centre back, maybe an attacking midfielder, and then a left winger. Is that too much to ask for?
I mean, probably for Rangers, but I think that is what we need if we want to be challenging for the title.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do need quality as well rather than just squad players. And a lot, I mean, obviously Robin's your first choice and you've got a centre back, so they would be squad players, but I think the more first team quality players that we need to bring in my opinion, would be the midfielder and the two wingers. But the rest would be squad players in my opinion.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're so close to having a really strong starting 11. But then you do need the depth as well, like you're mentioning there. If Romans gets injured, as it stands, we're talking Ashton Scally filling in. He's a 16-year-old boy. And I don't care how good he is, there's no way a 16-year-old boy is at the stage where he can fill in regularly in the league. It's just, and domestically, like whatever games he's called upon, he's just not ready. 16's too young to be thrown in there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And talking about 16, did you see the new SFA rule change that 15-year-olds are now allowed to play?
No, I've
Uh,
not seen that.
yeah. So I think the idea thinking behind this is that maybe it'll stop them leaving to go down south if they're playing regular football. And you think back to even recent years with maybe Billy Gilmore. If Billy Gilmore was implemented in that team, it's a lot to ask at 15 though, but if they were playing regular football, 15, 16, 17, there's probably less chance of them moving because they're getting the games.
Yeah, totally. For me, it's not the rule though, because I've seen 16, 17 years old struggle to get minutes of Rangers. It's a real problem that needs looked into. I like that we're starting to loan them out, getting them minutes elsewhere, but I'd love to see us develop more of our own players, because I can't
Yeah,
remember the last couple of players that made it at Rangers that were in the youth team.
nah, you're absolutely right. And we spend a fortune on development as well. But we'll move on to outgoings then, Dex. So Ross McCausland, so there is interest from English clubs. Luton Town are seem to be the ones mentioned. And it is looking increasingly like that he's going to leave in the very near future. Is that something you've seen coming?
Yeah, I think most people seen it coming. His time at Rangers is up. He's not going to contribute to this team in any way. So best move him on, get him off the wage book.
And moving from Cyprus to Luton, big drop that
Well,
in it.
There'll be a lot less sun, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, next one, John Souttar. So we've briefly spoke about John there. John is set to depart. So there's multiple clubs interested, but the one that's been linked heavily, and I don't know if it's lazy journalism, is Leicester due to Russell Martin. But nobody's come out and denied their claims from that side of the country yet. Do you see Souttar going to Leicester?
I mean, as you said, it could just be lazy journalism, but I could see it. I could see it happening, especially with Martin, the manager, because I think he was quite fond of Souttar.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make sense. But then is that why it's lazy journalism? Maybe it makes too much sense. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah,
I could see it happening.
whether it's Leicester or not, I think he's definitely leaving by the sounds of it anyway, and I think there'll be no complaints about that from the Rangers fan base, given his form last season.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I definitely wouldn't complain about it. As I've said a couple of times, I wouldn't have minded to seen him in the McInnes team, but I'm certainly not going to complain about it, especially for replacing him with a South African international. Time
So
for freshness.
my only issue with Souttar leaving, and I do want Souttar leaving, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, is the fact that he's Scottish.
Yeah.
And we always speak about wanting a core of Scottish players, and then we're quick to kick John Souttar out the door. So, I mean, I'm 60-40 wanting to leave. I wanted the John Souttar, the on-form John Souttar to be a Rangers player. But unfortunately, it probably doesn't look we're going to get that guy back again. So I think the timing probably is right to leave. It's just unfortunate. But
Yeah.
that's such as life. Oliver Antman, very surprised. This surprised me yesterday when I heard about it. 4.5 million apparently. To Anderlecht. So I believe Rangers make in the region of £1 million profit. That surprised me that we're going to make a profit. Nothing bad to Ant-Man, I think. He's a nice boy, like I said. And do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he'd done well at Anderlecht. But I just never thought they would make a profit on a player that's not really part of the manager's plans.
Yeah, well, this one's heating up, especially the past 24 hours. I've actually heard today that he's away for his medical.
Interesting. And you'd like to think that these outgoings will start to pick up. And then we'll get some money in for these guys, these fringe players, and invest it into the key positions we need to strengthen, such as the wingers, because you know yourself, the wingers is probably the most expensive part of the squad and the hardest part, in my opinion, to fill.
Yeah, totally. But just come back to you saying you're surprised we're getting a profit for Oliver Antman. I mean, it is a bit surprising, but I will say, see when you sign players coming off a successful season and they have a bad season or two, you are just as likely to get the same money or maybe even a little profit because they're known to be successful recently. But if you sign players that are having a bad season, a bad couple of seasons, and then they proceed to have another bad season, then it's a losing battle. That's why I like gambling and getting players that have had better seasons in lesser leagues. I'm not saying the Dutch league is a lesser league, but I'm just generalising it.
Yeah, my only issue with the Dutch league, and we've spoken about this before, is if you watch Dutch football, I used to watch Dutch football a lot, on average, there's a lot more goals in Dutch football than other top European leagues. So the numbers for attacking players always seems to be higher because you watch that, there's never like 0-0 games. There's, a lot of time there's like 3-1s, 4-2s. They like a free-flowing attacking football in Holland. So I think sometimes give you a false kind of idea of a player, an attacking player coming from Holland. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, well, Holland's always been notorious for that. Very attacking. I remember back in the day seeing videos of the gegenpressing.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Exactly.
10 outfield Dutch players running towards you in a line.
No, exactly.
Crazy.
So I think we'll wrap up our decks nice and sharp this week, and we look forward to doing a post-match where hopefully we can discuss Rangers defeating Dundee United and finally getting off to a good league campaign. It's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah, well, that would be a tremendous way to start, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, Dex, that's all me. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you after the Dundee.